Hey everybody, I'm Dennis Pitzenberger. We're here in the Las Vegas Convention Center for the 50th annual SEMA show, and I'm up in the middle of SEMA Central with some of my great friends, including the one and only Rob Fisher. How you doing today, sir?
What's going on, Dennis?
Man,
How
a
you
good
doing, buddy?
old-fashioned circle track boy. That's,
yeah, man.
Now, a lot of people don't realize, you know, Rob does a lot with SEMA. He's with E3 Spark Plugs, but we met each other when working for Circle Track Magazine, and I'm just a roundy-round guy at heart, and I love drag racing. I love road racing too. But you know what? There's nothing better than backing it in. You know, there just isn't. There's a lot of things out there. I like the drifting. When people say, you know, you drift, I'm like, I've been drifting through 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 for years.
Grew up drifting, right? Drifting on dirt, though, is how we did it. We didn't do it on this pavement stuff.
That's true. That's true. Had a lot of fun. The reason I wanted you up here, because, you know, we have to... I
want to know the reason you wanted me up here.
I do, because actually I got to get back to business now. We have enough fun. We'll talk about other fun stuff too, but you know what? Spark plugs.
Yes.
Now, here's an example of how SEMA can be a really great playing field for a company, because so many different marketplaces, and I'm talking vertical categories for stuff, can be very saturated.
Oh, very much.
There's not just one place making spark plugs.
No, there are.
I mean, there's from an OE level to a dozen making them aftermarket. Oh, yeah. This is a good question. How do you use the assets of SEMA to be able to diversify your product from the others? Using an example like a data co-op.
Well, I got a perfect story, and it's funny you should bring up data co-op. So we have a complete line of racing spark plugs, right? And they run the gamut, most of them small block Chevy type stuff, right? Everything from top fuel, so top fuel nitro plug, all the way down to like your basic street stock, right? Or four cylinder, like what you run. And we got hooked up with Steve Wolcott, the NMRA, NMCA as a sponsor. And one of the things we very rapidly found is that we had a missing SKU for the Coyote. Now we had a stock plug, OE replacement plug for Coyote motor, but we didn't have a racing version of that. So for a company like us, when we go into a new spark plug SKU, we have to make, you know, tens of thousands of that plug.
Yeah.
So the decision was, you know, how do we make the decision, rather I should say, of do we make a racing Coyote plug? There's a couple other companies out there doing it, but they're not really a lot of them. Like, you know, the big guys, Autolite, Champion, those guys aren't making that plug, right? So we have to figure out, are there enough GT Mustangs out there where we can justify making the racing plug?
And this is kind of where SEMA comes in.
That's exactly what I did, right? So I called up the guys at the SEMA Data, you know, co-op there, and they have that new vehicle in operation program where all you do is you tell them what make, model, blah, 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 year range,
generation and whatnot.
Generation. I just picked what the Coyote was in. I said, tell me how many of these are out there, and they gave me the number back, and we went, we're going to make a plug. As a matter of fact, the information was so detailed that I think we're going to make 2 plugs for that. So 1 step colder, 2 step colder than stock.
And that's a perfect example of what makes this so strong.
Oh, it's super valuable.
You know, and I see you, funny thing is, we're all manufacturers here, or buyers, or sellers, or product managers. I see you upstairs a lot, because it's this upstairs, a lot of people don't know what's happening. The buyers and sellers are coming down to see you in your booth, or our other great friends here in the booth, but it's all this education. The data co-op, I don't know how you can be in business in this automotive industry and not just use that, I mean, literally on a daily basis almost, because it can really help you realize there's a niche. I can find a niche and I can have a solution for that problem, or just have a solution for something that nobody else has.
You know, SEMA has so many different really valuable assets for their member companies, right? I'm going to sound like a commercial for SEMA here for a second.
That's why we're here, to show what they do.
We got data co-op, right? I spent time in the emissions seminar yesterday, and you know what the guys like, what Peter and Mike are doing at SEMA Garage is like crazy helpful for a company like ours, right?
Sure.
Because we are in the ignition space, we do deal with actual emissions on the car, and with everything that's going on with the EPA and ARB and the enforcement and what they did with Harley Davidson, $15 million fine, boom, like that, right?
Yeah.
For violations, okay? Those guys can guide you through the executive order process so that you can get your EOs and make sure that you're in compliance so that you're selling legal products. And we use them for that too. So
It's one more reason why, if you're here, you're already a SEMA member.
Exactly.
Why not use the vast amount of tools that they have? And that right there, that's not E3 spark plug commercial. That's not a SEMA commercial.
No, not at all.
That's just a smart business decision.
Exactly.
And that's what it comes down to. Rob Fisher, look in the camera, tell them where to go if they want spark plugs, or where they got to get a guy that can tune a roundy round car.
If you want the spark plugs, you go to e3sparkplugs.com. If you want the roundy round tuning guy, don't look at me. You got to go with this guy.
No, I just race him and wreck him. More from SEMA Central coming up soon.